Time to talk about one of the most popular divisions. Everyone's always debating it. NFC West division preview. Appreciate everyone tuning in. We're going to be talking about a hot take for this division, I should say. And we're also going to be giving our record predictions for each team, breakout players for each team, and we're going to go over, I had the paper right here of who won and who was the most accurate predictor last year in the NFC West. You guys don't seem too confident.
I'm always confident.
Just saying, we all had the Rams winning more than 12 games last year. So this is going to get messy.
No, we didn't.
No, yeah, we did. Or at least 11, I think. We all had the Rams winning the division.
I had them tied with San Francisco, I think.
Anyway.
Oh, I think I know why. Because I said I was 1 year off from the Rams going bad. I was talking bad about
1 year off.
The year that they won the Super Bowl. I was talking crap about them, and then they win. So I overcompensated for the Rams last year. But plus, I hate the 49ers. Like, I don't like using that word, but I have to use that word. Like, come on, this is the biggest bandwagon fan base in the whole NFL. Their claim to be like, no, we're always faithful. We're faithful to the Bay. No, you're bandwagon fans. You're like, Tony, the only time you see 49er fans come out is when they're winning.
Joe, let's wait till we get there. You're going to get all the viewers to tune out before we even get to the 49er slander. Come on. I'm with you, though. I'm going to get on the path with you. Don't worry. I'm going to get on that train. But anyways, I'm Mike. J and the T. We're in order here on the screen, in person as well. Like, I think we could high five, right? There we go. Yeah, we high fived. But let's get into it, starting with our hot takes. Like I said, we'll give our record prediction at the end. So stick around for the record prediction for every team in the West. Hot take. For me, I'm going to go with, and I just think that people don't give this man the respect he deserves. Pete Carroll will be a unanimous top 3 head coach this year. And we probably already think he's a top 3 head coach. But I think unanimously across the NFL fan base, they're going to talk about him with Mike Tomlin. They're going to talk about him with Andy Reid. They're going to talk about him with the best in the game right now. Tony, hot take for this division.
I really should have prepared hot takes because then I just start saying stuff that's like wildly out of character and probably won't happen. But that's why it's hot. Kyler Murray gets traded before the deadline.
That would be interesting to see what happens. Like because we all think that he won't be with the team next year. So that'd be I could see him if a team comes out for him. Yeah,
Kyler to the Commanders, calling it now.
You can't take his hot take, Mike. That's Tony's hot take.
Oh, it's a reaction to his hot take with the landing spot.
Yeah, I didn't give the landing spot, but I could see a world in which Kyler Murray is so disgusted standing on the sidelines looking around going, nah, I'm good.
I'm not coming back.
I ain't coming back to this.
Yeah, we should be more prepared for these shows, Tony.
It's just the hot take. Like
you can say anything.
We introduced that in our pre-production meeting while we were playing a game of Madden.
Right. So Sam Darnold will be the best quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers this year.
You seen the Brock Purdy reports in training camp? I mean, he's playing a really good defense every single day, but they're saying that he is throwing interceptions every day. Just interception after interception.
Shanahan said he would have to have a full-on meltdown to not be the starter.
Yeah.
So what does that say about the rest of the QBs?
Yeah, Mike Shanahan, whatever Shanahan coaches the 49ers, you had a complete meltdown in that draft and in the last draft, and I'm sure in future drafts. So I don't know.
The Niners have so much depth that they were able to draft a kicker with their first pick this year in the draft.
They don't though.
If
they don't.
I just want to throw that out there because I know how much
they don't have that much depth.
I know how much Tony loves Jake Moody, and he's probably going to be a great kicker in this league. But I just wanted to give that little.
They could have used someone everywhere except for on the D line.
When Homeboy's banging them from 60 game winners this year, you guys are your phones are getting blown up by me. Like
even if he is, he's not worth a third round pick when they have this.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not going to be a good kicker. I'm just saying they felt that they were a kicker away or something. There's a little bit more depth that they could have got besides taking a kicker at number 99.
You guys know how I defend players from Michigan. I'm still talking about Nico Collins like he's going to be Michael Irvin. Okay, but like it doesn't matter. I'm gonna get his back. We'll say this: the documentary that is going to come out about the team that never was in like 5 years, if this 49ers team does not win a Super Bowl, it's because they're going to have legit like Hall of Famers that have come through, or like CMC and Kittle, depending on if he can stay healthy, production. that they had Trent Williams for this run. Debo is going to be putting up crazy enough. Fred Warner. And they don't get a Super Bowl out of this. It's going to be bad.
And I think that they're running out of runway while other teams, have extended their team's dominance, like the Eagles, for example, in the NFC, or the Cowboys.
You didn't even talk
the
about Nick
Seahawks.
Bosa.
All these teams, man, like they're running out of time. They're
Like,
running out of time.
That's how many weapons they have, like how many great players they have on that team that you're listing them. And like Nick Bosa could be the best one, and you forgot about him just because about how many other great players they have on this team. And just, I don't know. We'll see if maybe this year can be different for the Niners. We're not going to bash them right off the front because you got to wait till we get to our predictions. But it's just like the Niners need to do something. They need to improve. They need to get better play from their quarterback position in the postseason. Is what we're looking for, right?
Yeah. Well, we can keep it. We can keep it on the Niners and just start previewing their offseason and reviewing their offseason and previewing their upcoming season. They're kind of just running it back like a lot of these teams in the NFC that were right there at the end. I mean, the Niners made the NFC Championship game, lost their quarterback. We know the story. I don't really see any big additions here because they drafted a kicker with basically their only high-quality pick. And, I'm not saying that they could have used a corner, but they could have used a corner. The backup offensive line is garbage, and the starting offensive line is starting to get more and more thin the more players leave. I don't know. I think that there was many spots they could have drafted there with that one pick. They didn't really do much in free agency either.
Just Hargrove, right?
Yeah, Hargrave's over. But like I've been telling all Niner fans, they're all like, we got Javon Hargrave, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude, how much better can the D-line get? How much more dominant can they get? You need help in many other positions right now. That's what's holding you back at the end of the season. How about quarterback? I mean, we're not even sure what's going to happen at quarterback.
See, and when they made the CMC trade, great trade. I'm not knocking CMC, but that's what I asked. I said, can CMC play offensive line? Like, I felt the Niners never addressed their offensive line. And what better way to protect your quarterback who goes down, or no matter who their quarterback has, they lost two quarterbacks just in the NFC Championship game alone. It's just protecting them and making that would have solidified your team just a little bit more. I like, what else? I'm gonna give the Niners a little bit of credit on taking Clelin Ferrell. He's been performing well during his training camps and stuff when he's been out there. So yeah, Mike, you're not happy with the defensive line, but we've talked about this on other division preview shows that the defensive line, if you can get a defensive line that can switch in and out and rush the quarterback, that's going to help your secondary. I mean, I don't know some of these Niners secondary guys back there, but they're going to perform a little bit better with a great defensive line. But they need to pay Nick Bosa. Pay him.
I mean, we could see another jump from Hufanga, who is starting to become one of the better safeties in the league. So you could say that they're really putting their eggs in Demador Lenore. I know who he is. It's hard to say his first name, but Lenore, they're putting a lot of eggs in his basket. And Tre'Davious Ward. I've never been a huge fan of him in KC even. So I mean, here we are.
For me, it's the offensive line because we saw what happened. I do think there's also a little bit of Kyle Shanahan recognizing, like, maybe let's not leave the NFL sack leader Hassan Reddick one-on-one against Ross Dwelly or whatever. Like, let's not have those sort of matchups in big-time games. But there's too much talent. He's too good of a coach. They're gonna win a lot of football games.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I want to see Niner fans in the comments, and I want to hear your guys' opinion. What are the chances? I will say from 0 to 100% chance that Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Trent Williams, all are healthy going into the playoffs.
See, and just another dig at the Niners for taking a kicker with the 99 overall pick. He probably will be a great kicker in this league. I'm not going to knock the guy and his talent. But Niner fans have been blowing me up, telling me all this stuff in my comment sections on all my social medias that, hey, we don't even need a kicker. We're going to have so big of a lead that we're not even going to worry about kickers. So
that makes no sense.
That makes no sense that you didn't draft them.
That makes no sense.
That's the only reason. I just like to take shots whenever I can. Hey, my team drafted a kicker in the first round of the NFL draft at a time that they felt they needed a kicker. So if a kicking game is something that you need, I'm all for taking people when you need them.
Chances, Tony. Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Trent Williams all play in the playoff game.
So, like, less than 10%?
That's what I'm saying.
that all of those guys are healthy, but I think that's really any team, right? Like, I think any team is going to have at least one major injury. Like, you listed everybody. If you said just Brock Purdy and CMC, can they get those two guys healthy to the postseason? I would say, yeah. Like, he can manage that and work around and Band-Aid a couple of games late in the season to get Elijah Mitchell and Sam Darnold to win some games down the stretch.
Well, I think it's even reversed, though. I think it's almost more important that Kittle and Williams are healthy than anything. I mean, those two being healthy will keep Purdy and Christian hopefully healthy. They do have Elijah Mitchell. People forget about that. So if they did lose CMC, it's not like the rushing game is going to take a massive hit, but what CMC does in the receiving game will take a hit.
Torian Davis-Price, the running
he's there
back
too.
they had last year,
and Jordan Mason.
Yeah, that kid's got some real juice.
Well, it doesn't matter. 49ers have a system that you could just plug running backs in and hopefully they do good. But if you have an elite guy like Christian McCaffrey, it's even better. But you should be able to plug running backs into that system. Now, I might piss you guys off a little bit right here. I'll not piss you off, just make you a little bit argumentative. But I'm going to tell you what. The best wide receiver on the 49ers is not Deebo Samuel. It's Brandon Ayuk.
I was just sitting here thinking about how we haven't brought him up. And so I heard a report. Remember when he was having trouble getting on the field? I think it was last year. He's supposed to have like a breakout year in fantasy. And everybody was like, you got to draft him. Part of the issue for him was that he didn't want to commit to blocking the way Shanahan wanted him to commit. And so he was kind of in the doghouse. Once he realized, this is what I have to do because it actually opens things up for me in the pass game, different looks and whatever, he's been able to take that next step. I do think that Brandon Ayuk is a mega talented wide receiver who has a real chance to get paid this offseason.
Mike, add this graphic in when I go, Ayuk!
Yeah, add a little fireball in there or something. All right, let's come back over down the coast a little bit to Los Angeles and talk about the LA Rams. Me and Joe, we obviously went and saw them in person. If you guys want to check out our division, or not our division, this is the division preview, our camp review, it's up on the channel. Just go scroll a little bit. It's in the recent videos. Let's talk about the Rams, and I know my opinion on the Rams already, but I just think that this team is a house of cards. That's what I saw someone else say that. I can't remember which pundit it was, and I'm repeating it and I'm stealing it. But I think that if Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, or Aaron Donald go down or just don't have the juice, it's over. The whole team's going to come crashing down behind them. Tony, try and give Rams fans some hope here, or do they have no hope?
According to my record prediction, they don't have any hope. But I would say if I was going to try and give them hope, that the run game allows this team to stay competitive, to really like control the football, and find a way to be one of those teams that gets like averages 38 minutes in time of possession. Because the defense that they are going to field, the team is going to need a chart to start the season to be like, wait, who's 41? Wait, 76, 90, 95. Actually, they're not going to know a lot of these guys that are coming in and out of defensive football games. So like that would be the ones I have hope. I just think that what they're trying to do is essentially impossible in a division that's this tough, and just in the NFL in general. Like, it's just, I don't know. Never do any sort of predictions after you watch them get slaughtered by your team's backups. Like, I watched every snap of that preseason game, and I was like, I get Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford aren't on the field, but those are three guys, and this is who they're working with. Like, it was bleak.
Yeah, we talked about young teams, and this team is going to be, I don't know what the average age is, but they should be a young team. And they talked about try and trade Matthew Stafford in the offseason so that you already know the direction that they're going in. Aaron Donald, for a second, was thinking about retirement. So was the head coach and Sean McVay. They all came back. They're all back. Talking to Rams fans at training camp, like they're all like, oh, we sold our whole team for a Super Bowl, so we're good with it. You can't be good with that, Tony. Like there's many teams that are trying to rebuild, and there's many teams that are trying to rebuild while still being competitive. This is not one of them. And I'm sorry to say, like, when we get to our record predictions, we might not like it, but Mike, you're going to probably say the same thing I say about the offensive line. Just is not. I mean, this has been an issue even when they were winning. Was the offensive line, and now it's just getting worse and worse as we go on. And then Cam Akers. Are we going to believe in Cam Akers again for one more season and hope that he can be the guy that we all think he can be? I mean, we're putting a lot of faith in that. And then in camp, when Cooper Kupp had the hamstring injury, and how long is that going to linger for him throughout the season? I mean, if Cooper Kupp is 100%, maybe we give him 1 or 2 more games than we're thinking. I'm being a little bit, I don't know. I'm being a little bit, how do you say it, Tony? I'm giving them a little bit more wins than I should. Generous.
Magnanimous?
Yeah, because of who their head coach is. Like, just because I think Sean McVay is so damn smart and can come up with game plans and win a game or two here or there, and just off of what he comes up in the game plan. So Rams fans, enjoy that Super Bowl, because I don't know if you're going to get a lot of wins this year.
First of all, I would trade everything for a Super Bowl win. As a Chargers fan that's never seen one, been close to one, even have any understanding of what it's like to even think about us winning a Super Bowl. So I will do anything. You guys can go ahead and start saying things.
Yeah,
and I will say yes to all of it.
Mike will do anything.
Everything you say, I will do it. I will sacrifice for the entire fan base. But come on. You guys don't believe in Russ Yeast? They're starting free safety this year? It sounds like a made-up person. It doesn't even sound like a real person. It does. Russ Yeast and Michael Hawk and Robert Rochelle, and it's just, it keeps going down the list.
Did they bring John Johnson back?
Yeah, but he's the backup as of right now, at least on this depth chart. He's probably going to start. And Kobe Durant outside, I think that he's a guy with potential, but he's got a rough go at it, man. He's got to take on Brandon Ayuk. He's got to take on Deebo Samuel. He's got to take on DK Metcalf, JSN, Tyler Lockett. I mean, how much can Kobe Durant do? I know he can't guard more than one person at once. I'll tell you that much. And even if he is in good coverage on DK, he's a smaller dude. DK's just going to go over him.
So here's why I would trade, why I'm good with what the Rams fan said. When you have a head coach that you feel strongly enough that it's going to take just a minimal amount of time to rebuild back to being competitive again, it's fine with what they did. And so I think that's the strong part. Also, we could see this become a trend if they're successful. People thinking, well, look what the Rams did. Let's just overload with cap and trade away picks, and then we could just rebuild. The problem is they're not realizing they might not have Sean McVay in their corner and Les Snead rebuilding and making that. They're essentially going to be having like tryouts. Who can be on this roster in 2024, like all year? Their best cornerback might be the 5'6" Tomlinson's nephew. Like, he was at least out there making competitive plays against a 6'4" first-round pick in the preseason game.
F them picks. F them picks.
Yeah, they got their bowl. They're happy. F them picks. So now they need to trade for as many picks as they can possibly get. All right, let's go to Seattle now and talk about these Seahawks. We'll save the Cardinals for last, because I don't think we're going to have much to say about the Cardinals. But
skip it.
Just skip
on over the Cardinals.
Just skip.
Hard pass.
Oh, man. The Seahawks have loaded up even more, guys. They got Zach Charbonnet in the draft. He's going to add some more depth to their running back room. People forget they still have Kenny McIntosh. Well, I think he got hurt. They also have DJ Dallas in that RB room. They were a loaded
Ooh, they got DJ Dallas.
room. Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that can play and fill in spots if you need him. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, JSN is going to be the receivers. And you look down the list here, I like the way the offensive line is looking, because they are investing in young guys, but they're letting those guys develop. They're letting those guys work, and we'll talk about that more when we get to the record prediction. And it's just the defense, man. If you don't know who Draymond Jones is, you're going to know soon. Jaron Reed is a good inside rusher as well. I'm a little bit worried about getting some stuff on the edge. We're just hoping that Uchenna Nwosu can have a similar year to last year. That's the biggest thing. Bobby Wagner's back. They drafted Devon Witherspoon. Jamal Adams is right now like up in the air when he's going to come back. I think mid-season might be back or might not. We don't know. But even if he doesn't come back, they got Julian Love. So there you go. And, of course, Quandre Diggs is up top for them still. And Tyreek Woolen is outside. I mean, you could just keep going down the list. There's so many guys on this defense now that are young, aggressive, fun talents to watch. What's your thoughts on the Seahawks, Tony? I'll let you go ahead and take it away.
While I'm talking about this, did they draft Boye Mafe last year? Is that where he is?
Boye Mafe is here, yes.
Yeah, so they have edge potential, let's say, right? Because they also got Derek Hall, which is the guy that I really loved in this draft class, And I've already seen him making effort plays. He doesn't have a ton of skill yet, but he was really explosive in the preseason game that I watched. So he could give them something there. It's really, to me, more about how good the secondary is with this defense and bringing back Bobby Wagner. Like, I just think that's one of the most underrated signings where he's coming in and he might not be able to be year 6 Bobby Wagner, but if he could be what he was for the Rams last year with this much talent around him, like, I just think that is a really dynamic defense. And then when you bring in somebody like Jackson Smith and Jigba, that allows Lockett and Metcalf maybe a little bit more operation to move. Maybe they can't. You already can't double both of those guys. And if you do, like, are you going to leave a linebacker on a Jigba? Are you going to have like a flat-footed safety trying to cover him in the middle of the field? Like, it's not going to happen. So Geno Smith took a step last year, and this idea that we think that guys can't improve or get better, like, just getting reps and experience, that'll make you better.
Well, you wrote Geno Smith off, right?
I am still waiting for a letter from that.
Yeah, they're written back.
That man.
Yeah,
he's not writing you back, huh?
Yeah.
Mike, who is their tight end?
Noah Fant, Will Dissly.
So you got to think that Pete Carroll's offense, that we've seen it in the past, even when they had Russell Wilson, even with those 3 great wide receivers, or good wide receivers, not great, we're not going to call them great yet, but 3 good wide receivers, they're going to be finding those 2 tight ends somewhere near the end zone.
Oh, for sure. Like Dissly or Fant. And Fant has kind of been a disappointment from what we thought he would be as like a pass catcher. He doesn't seem to be like a real great blocker. Like, we thought he'd be more involved there. But just being able to get to the next level. Mike talked a little bit about the offensive line, and those were the players that I wrote down as breakout players.
Same.
If Lucas and Cross can both get to that next level, right, where they are just sort of above average, let's just say average tackles, where they're just not getting crushed. And maybe you do need a little help with Bosa when you play him that week. Like, you're going to need a lot of help with him. Then that's fine. Like, that is, you can work with that. You can put Dissly over there. You can have, like Charbonnet or Walker coming out of the backfield and chipping with that.
Mm-hmm.
Really, the Seahawks are the most unlucky running back team ever. It seems like every single year, it's like they had one practice for 45 minutes and lost 6 running backs. Like, it just...
Well, they're hurt already this year, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Both of them.
And they always have good running backs, too. They just are
Charbonnet,
hurt.
Walker, and McIntosh all injured. I think it was like the year before Chris Carson. They're like, dude, you cannot play football anymore. Your spine is mangled.
And you know what's crazy? Is Eric Kendricks did an interview recently, and they asked him who is the hardest running back that's ever, like, who's the hardest hitting running back you've ever went against? You know what he said? He said Chris Carson.
Yeah.
Of all the guys he's played, this dude's been in the league for almost a decade now, and he said Chris Carson. He practiced against Adrian Peterson every day for a little bit of time.
We saw that, though. Like, Chris Carson played with just an anger.
Yeah.
He was one of those guys that was super underrated and could never stay on the field. Shoulders, neck, back. Like, because he played, like, the point of the game was to run people over.
Tony, I want to go back to what you mentioned with the offensive tackles from last year. I think there was benefit. It benefited them a lot to let them play out their whole rookie season.
Absolutely.
Because, yes, you got beat down. Yes, you got ran over by some of the best. But you come right back the next year, and when they went into the offseason, they knew what they were getting ready for this year. Where last year it was like all new to them. So I think having those 2 offensive tackles come back for another year, it's only going to benefit them. And what NFL team has the balls to start 2 rookie offensive tackles like that?
Some of us.
Petey Carroll got those meaty clackers. That's who you're talking about.
I mean, we were forced to start some young tackles last year. Hey, give us some credit, Joe.
You were forced to, but these guys they chose to do it.
That's
like
true.
They went out there and go, hey, we're gonna let them take our hits, and we're gonna hopefully win some games with them and let them learn as they go. And a lot of good offensive linemen have bad first years, or they get knocked around their first year, and then the next year they're back to being solid. So I think improving an offensive line that, hey, since the Russell Wilson days, right? Where you were like, Seattle needs offensive line. Well, they might have one.
Well, they used the Russell Wilson picks to start drafting offensive linemen.
So I think like what Mike was saying about Pete Carroll is like a lot of times we forget about how good of a football coach he is, and he won at SC, he's won in the NFL. I think the coaches that are really successful in the NFL are good at brainwashing these millionaires into buying into like culture and system and everything else. And the ones that aren't, it's like you get halfway through a season and it kind of looks bleak. Injuries start hurting. Guys really kind of don't want to play or they're not. You don't have enough guys in contract years. Pete Carroll really thrives with young team. Like he really gets these guys juiced up. Like it's all about ball and everything. Like they don't have necessarily big families to be rushing home to. Like having those young guys that he can be gum smacking and taking off his shirt and competing with them and stuff like that. Like he's really good at working with young, talented football players.
There was a clip from their practice ahead of their playoff game last year. Obviously, no one thought they were going to win. I think they played the Niners in the first round. But there was a clip from the practice during playoff week, and it just looked like everyone was having a blast. Everyone at that practice was having a ton of fun. There was dancing. They were making plays, getting hyped up. And I was like, this little highlight reel just maybe even higher on Pete Carroll because we're this far into the season, and you got these guys still – in a game that they didn't think they probably had a chance in really.
That was
having a blast.
Money. That was, I mean, you didn't go, did you go over all the records or whatever was on this? Like we were probably all like 15 picks off of the Seahawks because we all thought that was like, they're going to tank for a year to try and get whoever from this draft class, like Bryce Young or whoever.
I was suspicious.
Yeah, whatever the tank thing was. It's not, that's not how Pete operates.
Let's talk Cardinals now. Let's get it out of the way. No Kyler Murray this year, obviously. It pretty much tanks their whole season. I mean, they do have one of the more consistent backups, if that's what we could say about Colt McCoy. Comes in, gets the ball out to people quickly. He's not going to take them anywhere, though. Marquise Brown hopefully can be healthy this year. They didn't have him for most of last year. D-Hop's gone, so it's him, Greg Dortch, Rondell Moore. Someone's going to have to pick up the slack. This offensive line is just scary to look at. Speaking of rookie tackles, they're starting Paris Johnson, obviously, over Kelvin Beachum, who I think was like crying about them picking Paris Johnson or something. So ironically,
well, he was also talking crap about his own quarterback
and about Kyler too. So that's ironic. You look at the defense side of the ball. There's a lot of young guys that you want to watch and you want to see how they do. It's just can they consistently put it together and be a good enough defense to carry an offense without a quarterback and without an offensive line, without a wide receiver one. Probably not, but Tony, we can keep this brief. Cardinals are going to stink.
Yeah, Paris Johnson Jr. had some nice reps in the preseason game the other night. I think I texted you guys that they had him starting at right tackle. Beachum was out there at left, but then they have Humphreys, I think, somewhere in the mix there. Here's the thing that's going on with the Cardinals, and that's fantastic for them. I guess you could look at it that way. They got the draft pick from the Texans. They got their own draft pick. You're going to, if Kyler is still there, I know my hot take was that he gets traded, but whether he's there or not, like they've got some young players to be excited about on the team, and that's basically where you go. Because my breakout player for this, and I'm only skipping over this because there's another guy that I'm going to go. I'm not going to mention this one. Michael Wilson, the wide receiver from Stanford, is a guy that I think can be a player. So if you can just get these guys on the field and get them experience, and I keep saying this with a lot of these teams, Cardinals just need to get some guys some experience. Who can be on this roster for 2024? Who wants to be here with this? But this is a team, come the trade deadline, I'm definitely making a phone call about Budda Baker.
Send him.
I'm making a phone call about Marquise Brown. I'm making a phone call about, James Conner if he's healthy at that point. Like, what do you got? Like I'll send a 6th-round pick for James Conner if I've had a running back injury.
Tony, would you rent Budda for a year on the Chargers?
1,000%.
We can't sign him to the long-term deal, but we could rent him until we get there.
1,000%. Have him come over there and play with Lowe and Derwin, and lights out.
It's over for the Raiders. That happened. It's over for the Raiders.
We're not talking about that division right now. We're talking about
West.
But yeah, I think that was one of my questions that I was going to ask is how long until Budda Baker blows up on this team, because he did it last year. You saw the Arizona Cardinals quit on the field against the San Francisco 49ers in Mexico City last year, where they just gave up, and Buda Baker basically threw it out there that, hey, these teammates aren't doing it. They came back for a little bit. They're all professionals, so they came back and fought a little bit in other games. But no, the Arizona and how much do we believe in this head coach in Sean Gannon? Do you? Yeah. Are we?
I'll give him a chance because I've been surprised before, but.
But the Eagles kind of were pushing him out, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like the Eagles were like, yeah, take this motherfucker. Take him.
Well, here, you want me to spoil Jonathan Gannon for Mike right now?
Go
ahead. He's like best friends with Brandon Staley.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I love Brandon Staley. What are you talking about, Tony?
Yeah,
anyways.
right. I should have done it. I shouldn't have buried you on air like that. This is a season that Jonathan Gannon strictly gets a 17-game evaluation.
Yeah.
Which of these guys could I use to really start next season with?
I think that the Cardinals, just over the last 10 years or so, maybe even further back, but especially when I've really been watching football since I was maybe 13, they've been so undecisive. They can't pick who they want at quarterback. They can't pick who they want at head coach. They can't pick who they want to be their best receiver. They're just bouncing around, grabbing random veterans, and they just never build any consistency or direction.
It's the the reflection of the ownership for sure too. I don't know. They had Larry Fitzgerald, one of the best receivers of my lifetime, and
he was so loyal to them.
And Tony has seen a lot of good receivers in his lifetime.
He was so loyal that I think a team on a playoff run one year that had Tom Brady on it called him up and asked him to come, and he said, "No, I'm a Cardinal."
Yeah, when Larry Fitzgerald left, he still had snaps left in him. He was still good. It was just I don't want to beat up my body for this team.
He had multiple opportunities to leave Arizona and just never did.
Yeah. Damn, man. Damn. Anyways, let's get to these breakout players. I think I got a really good one for y'all. It's probably going to piss some people off, but I have to say it. Okay. Tony, go ahead and give yours first.
I'm going with the San Francisco wide receiver, Danny Gray. I think that there will be some opportunities once this offense does get cooking year 2 with Brock Purdy for him to really have some play action shots over the middle. Like a second and short, fake up the middle to Elijah Mitchell, come over the top. Danny Gray can fly.
I'm going with Drew Lock, quarterback from I couldn't. We couldn't make it through. We're going to try to make it through a conversation with Seattle in it and not bring up Drew Lock.
My heart.
His preseason game, I was just I jumped into Mike's TikTok live and I go, who's out of the league first, Drew Lock or Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, you see in that preseason game, I saw everything that Broncos fans loved about Drew Lock and everything that I kept telling them was not going to work out. He has a phenomenal arm. Yeah. His arm talent is crazy, but he's relied on that probably since high school, and he refuses to fix the rest of it.
But yeah, sorry, I had to throw that in there just to get your reaction. That's a good one, though, right, Drew Lock?
Drew Lock, breakout.
Give us your real one.
The guy that we saw at Rams camp, Mike, Kobe Durant.
Okay.
I think by the end of the year, people are going to recognize him as a top corner, and maybe not top 5, top 10, but he'll be up there in conversations of somebody that you'll trade for on Madden or do something like that. A young guy like that, he's gonna get his workout. Trust me, he's gonna work some of these top receivers. It's only gonna make him better. But that secondary of the Rams has to have a young shining star, and that's gonna be him.
That's a good take. I like it. Now, I know we just laughed at the Drew Lock take, but my breakout player in this division is Stetson Bennett.
I knew he was going to do that.
It's Stetson Bennett. I think the chances of Matthew Stafford playing 17 games this year, playing 15 games this year, playing 12 games this year are almost zero. They're either going to be so bad that they just take him off the field, or I'm not wishing it. I'm just saying what we saw from that O-line, they could not block me. I mean, it was every single play. Stafford is just throwing the ball to the sideline. Every single play for an entire practice. And we saw that all year last year, and we saw it all preseason game already.
He played 20 years in college.
Stetson Bennett's going to get in there after his 20 years in college, and he's going to look decent, and he's going to be the Rams quarterback going forward, I think.
I don't agree with this at all.
Cup's going to carry him.
I think it's a fun storyline.
So your breakout player relies on a Hall of Fame quarterback, as you say, as Matthew Stafford is, getting hurt to come in and
I
take over.
don't think it necessarily is going to be via injury. I think that there's a chance that the Rams are just.
You're just saying Matthew Stafford is just going to be, hey, you're benched.
He's saying that the Rams
They're
are going to be
one
so
in-
bad they're going
one
to
in
say, hey,
9.
let's evaluate.
Yeah.
Let's, like Matt, let's shut it down.
We're 1-9. We're not going to run you into the ground, Max. We want to trade you. Or maybe they trade him midseason somewhere, and it's not it. But my other guys were Drake Jackson for the 49ers. I wanted to shout out the 2 tackles. I thought the tackle duo for the Seahawks. And then I had Trey McBride for the Cardinals. So if you guys want other ones, not the hot, steamy breakout player, that's going to happen. And
That's
I'm gonna
not a hot,
laugh at all
steamy
of you.
takeout. Like, guys like him and Aaron Rodgers are the same age. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
he's
man.
the only rookie who qualified
Yeah.
for Just for Men, gray, beard, Russian. Get rid of your grays.
Which leads me to the record predictions. I got the Cardinals going 3-14. And I don't think that it needs much explanation why.
Look at you being generous.
Yeah, that's a little generous, honestly. I got the Rams winning 2 more games at 5-12. And I think that they're going to be like garbage games at the end of the year that no one cares about. I got the 49ers going 11-6 still, but I think it's going to be an ugly 11-6. I'm not knocking them completely out the playoffs. I think it's going to be an ugly 11-6. I don't see the Niners going to the Super Bowl this year like all the Niners fans think they are. And I had the Seahawks actually winning the division via tiebreaker at 11-6 as well, and sweeping the 49ers. I just want to note that in there.
noted.
Noted. Arizona Cardinals 1-16.
Good thing I didn't take a drink.
Okay. do you remember the team that they beat? Do you remember? Or are you just going 1-16?
I think it was like the Texans or
The Rams.
Maybe it was the home game against the Rams.
Yeah, home
or
game against the
something.
Rams.
I did give them a win. So last year when I had the Bears at 2-15 or whatever, I think I had them at 3-14, and everybody was like, "That's disrespectful." This whatever it was. How many wins did they finish with last year? Like, there are teams that are going to be so young and so mismatched in every game, and I just think that the Cardinals are one of 3 of those teams. Like, they're going to be some of the most lopsided records this year in my estimation, like that we've seen in a long time, because teams are starting either no future at quarterback or starting rookie quarterbacks all over the place, and that's going to create for really, really bad win-loss totals for some teams. Rams don't get much better. I don't think Stafford necessarily makes it through the season, but I think it's more just due to the beating that he's going to take. 3-14. Now, it's probably low. I probably would have them, if I was just making it up like I've done in the past, I probably would have had them at like 6-11.
Yeah.
I got the 49ers second in the division, 13-4, tied record breaker with the Seahawks at 13-4. Like, both of these teams are going to get 4 games against teams that I think are going to win a combined total of 4 games. Like, it's 4 wins. And then the other teams on their schedule, like, I don't know. I mean, it's probably a little high on both of them, but I'm somewhere in that neighborhood of Seahawks and Niners both being over 11 wins for me, easy this year.
I'm already gutted putting 5 wins for Sean McVay. I would just be like, damn, dude. Damn.
Yeah, when I was doing it, I was
Damn.
like, there's no way that I could hate on Sean McVay this much.
So this is 3-14 or 5 and whatever aren't that big of a difference. But I think they also get their first pick next year for the first time in like 12 years. And it's not a reflection of Sean, it's a reflection of the circumstance. Mm-hmm. Like, they just don't have. They keep trying to sell you this bullshit where, like, we've got the pillars that it takes for. No, you don't, bro. No, yes, you have some Hall of Fame talent on your roster, but it's not enough. Like, it's just not enough.
They're just gonna double team those guys.
Double team.
I want the Rams to be good. Like, I don't want to see my nephew be all depressed every time I see him. My brother has season tickets to the Rams. I want the Rams to be good. I just don't see it.
Yeah. All right, Joe. Oh wait, you got all of them right, Tony. Oh yeah, because you had the tie at the top like I did.
Yeah, 13 and
Couple
4
more wins
for
than I did.
for the Seahawks.
Joe, let's hear it.
Arizona Cardinals on the bottom. 3. I have them 3-14. So I'm giving them 2 more wins than Tony is, but I'm generous. I don't like to see teams with 1. I can't do it in my prediction. So I mean, if it was one team that I could give one win to, it'd probably be Arizona. But I gave them 3-14. I got the Rams at 6-11. Being generous, like I said, just because of who their head coach is. I got Seattle at 11-6, and then I got the 49ers win the division at 12-5. I didn't want to have the Niners win it, but when I was going through their schedule, it just looked like some winnable games in there, and it ended up. And I was going back and forth on the games with the Niners and Seattle, and I can't have Seattle sweep them. I can't have. I think I went 1-on-1 on it.
Yeah.
So
I have them 5-1 in their division games.
Yeah, so I had to put San Francisco at the top. I don't know if San Francisco is the top team. It's just me saying if they're 100% healthy, everything goes correct, they should be able to win these games. Does that translate when they get to the playoffs? I don't know.
Wait, what was your Seahawks record? I was distracted.
Said
Side
11
note,
wins, right?
Everybody, Joe Morley's got like kind of low key decent handwriting. I thought it was going to be terrible. I thought when I looked at Joe, I was like, he writes like a 4-year-old, and I looked over and I was like, Mike writes like what I expected.
You can see my board right up there to the side.
Oh, this is like quick writing right here.
I know, but it's still like it's.
Like I could be able to read it like this.
It's those big old hands, man. He
thought
really can finesse.
For some reason,
a pen.
I just imagined it was just going to be like just the worst handwriting I've ever seen. Continue. What's the record?
He's got marker-sized fingers, so he's kind of like.
So I have Seattle at 11-6.
Okay,
There you
I
go.
like it.
Second in there.
I do too.
I like it.
I do too. I think it's going to be a race to the end in this division between those two teams. That's our division preview. Oh yeah, last year, Tony won this division.
What again?
This puts me. I have San Francisco with this record with and everything as the number 2 seed in the NFC.
Okay.
There it is.
There you go. That means you have.
Behind the Green Bay Packers.
I won't say it.
No. They'd have to check out another division preview to see who I have above
Who's
them.
that
But
one
yes,
seed? And we will do a playoff show, momentarily after we finish all the division previews. But appreciate you guys for tuning into this one. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you can be here every time we go live and upload a new video. Check out the playlist if you're looking for your team, if these aren't your teams. Also, help us share this division preview out with 49ers and Seahawks fans to see how many of them we can
49er
trigger.
fans, Mike.
See how many of them we could trigger with our early hate in the show. We just dumped on the Niners for like 20 minutes and then went in and said that they're going to basically win the division right afterwards. But ignore that. We'll see you guys.
Great show business, right, Tony?
On the next one.
It is.
Joe, you want to get a Raiders in there?
Nah, I'm good.
I was going to cut you off anyways.